There is this persistent myth we all tell ourselves about success.
Hmm.
We look at a tech IPO or like a platinum album or some viral product that just drops, and we think, wow, where did they come from? We call it an overnight success.
Right, because we only ever see the finish line. We rarely see
That.
the, 10 years of running in the dark that got them there.
Exactly.
We don't see the failed prototypes or the empty bank accounts.
Exactly. But today, we are looking at an industry where that running in the dark phase isn't just a metaphor for hard work, it's literal.
Oh, yeah.
It is 5 or 6 years inside a greenhouse, off and off the grid, just burning through cash, rejecting thousands of plants, just
Yeah.
waiting for one genetic lottery ticket to hit.
And when that ticket hits, it doesn't just pay the bills. I mean, they can change the entire market architecture.
So we are diving deep into the high-stakes world of cannabis genetics today. Specifically, we're looking at a brand called Surefire Selections. And what a lot of insiders are now calling the Sherbanger era. We have a whole stack of documents here, some really dense nug notes, and a pretty comprehensive breakdown of their rise. And I have to say, the numbers in here,
They're wild.
they don't make any sense to a normal person.
No, they really don't. I mean, when you see a single plant cutting, not a farm, not a
Yeah.
harvest, but a piece of a plant selling for $50,000, you have to stop and ask,
Yeah.
is the world crazy, or is this just the level of economics that I don't understand?
That is the question we are trying to answer today. So our mission is to really unpack that number. We're going to look at the biology, the business strategy, and this whole philosophy of hunters before hype.
Right.
Because apparently this isn't just about growing weed anymore. This is about creating a new asset class.
It's a case study in scarcity and patience. I mean, if you really want to understand how value is created in 2026, you don't look at gold, you look at genetics.
Okay, so let's rewind. We have to set the scene to understand why this matters so much. The sources put us in Northern California, specifically the Craft Lane, around 2017. Now, to the uninitiated, Craft Lane sounds kind of quaint.
Yeah, like a farmer's market where you buy homemade jam or something.
Right.
It is anything but quaint. The craft lane in Northern California is probably one of the most competitive, cutthroat agricultural markets on Earth.
Wow.
You have a region with a multi-generational legacy of cultivation. Everyone grows, and everyone knows quality.
The notes here describe this environment as just unforgiving.
It's brutal. In 2017, the market was just flooded. If you showed up to a buyer or, a session with mids,
That's slang for mediocre, right?
that middle-of-the-road product, you were done. You didn't just lose the sale, you lost your reputation. Mids are spotted instantly there. It's like trying to sell instant coffee to an Italian barista.
They'll just laugh at you.
They will just laugh you out of the room.
So, into this. This Shark Tank swims Surefire Selections. And what stands out to me in the timeline is that they didn't actually swim.
No, not really.
They held their breath. The source says they spent 5 to 6 years of breeding, hunting, and selecting before anyone paid attention.
That's the whole hunters before hype philosophy in action. And we really need to pause on how financially risky that is.
Right.
Imagine opening a restaurant, perfecting the menu for 6 years, paying rent, paying staff, but refusing to serve a single customer because the sauce isn't quite right yet.
That is just bankruptcy waiting to happen. How did they survive that?
Well, usually, most growers in that era were chasing flower paydays. They needed cash flow.
Yeah.
So they grew whatever was popular, your Blue Dream. OG Kush harvested it, sold it, paid the bills. Surefire went the complete opposite direction. They sacrificed all that quick cash to build a genetic library.
The source calls this long game conviction.
It's betting on yourself. It's believing that if they could find something truly unique, an outlier, it would be worth more than 5 years of just grinding out commodity crops. They weren't trying to win a spreadsheet competition about yield per square foot.
Right. The notes make a really distinct contrast there. They say a lot of the industry was moving towards data-driven cultivation.
Exactly. Big Ag came in with spreadsheets. Okay, this plant finishes in 8 weeks. This one resists mildew. This one yields 50 grams per square foot. All logical metrics.
How boring.
Very boring. And Surefire wanted genetics that win rooms and conversations.
Win rooms and conversations. I love that phrasing.
You can't put wow factor on a spreadsheet. You can't put bag appeal, how the bud looks and smells in the bag, into an algorithm. Surefire was hunting for the plant that makes a room go quiet when you open the jar.
Wow.
That experiential quality is what they spent half a decade looking for.
So they're hunting for this unicorn. Let's get into the science of the hunt, because this is where I think people can get lost. We aren't just talking about planting seeds and watering them. We're
Yeah.
talking about the Sherbanger Foundation.
Right. This is the genetic backbone of all their success. It's the engine under the hood.
The notes mention a specific cross, lemon up mixed with Sherbanger number 1. But then it mentions a male. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but in cannabis cultivation, don't you usually kill the male plants?
Usually, yes. Absolutely. If you're growing for flower,
Right.
the part you actually smoke, you want females. Males produce pollen, and if they pollinate your females, you get seeds instead of bud, which it ruins the commercial crop.
So for 99% of growers, seeing a male plant is a disaster.
It's a containment breach. It's a huge problem. But for a breeder,
It's everything.
the male is the father of the next generation. It carries the potential. And this is where Surefire had an ace up their sleeve. Their work is built on a very specific Sherbanger F1 male.
And this wasn't something they just found in a ditch, right?
No. This male was bred by Boston Roots Seed Company. And this is a detail that really matters. Boston Roots released these genetics exclusively to only 2 people.
2 people in the world.
2. Surefire Selections and 1 other grower up in the North Bay.
That is wild. It's like a chef getting exclusive rights to a specific type of truffle that no one else can even buy.
Precisely. Or a tech company getting exclusive access to a new kind of chip. So right out of the gate, they have a genetic building block that is incredibly scarce. They have competitive moat.
And now they have to use it.
Now they have to use it. The notes describe the results of using this male as having F1 energy with BX discipline.
Okay, let's unpack that. F1 energy versus BX discipline. Sounds like a fitness routine.
It kind of does. Think of F1 like a wild stallion. When you cross 2 totally different stable strains like the Lemon Up and the Sherbanger, the first generation of children of the F1s, they often have hybrid vigor.
Okay.
They grow fast, they're strong, they're explosive, they have energy.
But energy can be chaotic.
Right.
Exactly. It can be unpredictable. And that is where the BX comes in. BX stands for backgrass.
Bad across.
That's when you take that wild child and you breed it back to one of the parents. You're trying to tame that wildness, to lock in specific traits, like a specific flavor or a plant structure.
So BX discipline is all about control.
It's about consistency. And somehow, Surefire managed to balance that explosive growth with the discipline of a stabilized flavor profile. And that combination gave them strains like Sherberry and Blueberry Gas.
Which were hits in their own right.
Ew.
The notes mentioned Sherberry is Sunset Sherb times Headbanger number 1. But these were really just the warm-up acts, weren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Because there is one specific event, one transaction, that just changed everything.
The catalyst, the Gus story.
The $50,000 plant. And I want to be crystal clear for you listening because I had to read this twice. We are not talking about buying a farm. We are not talking about buying a truckload of product. We are talking about a cut, a clone, a twig with some leaves on it.
A twig and a solo cup of dirt. $50,000 for twig. How? Why?
It sounds absolutely insane to an outsider. But you have to shift your perspective. Don't look at it as a plant. Look at it as intellectual property.
Okay, go on.
Imagine you could buy the original master recording of a hit song, and every time someone played it, you got paid. Or even better, imagine you could buy the source code for a new piece of software that everyone wants. That cut isn't just a plant, it's a factory.
Because you can clone it.
Infinitely. If you own that specific cut, and you are the only one who owns it, you can make 10 clones. That 100. Then 10,000. If that plant produces the strain of the year, that $50,000 investment pays for itself in one harvest.
Okay, so let's look at the specific asset here. The notes say this plant was phenotype number 19. The lineage is a mouthful.
It is.
Lemon Up times Sherbanger number 1, crossed with Z times Animal Cookies BX2.
A very, very complex genetic cocktail. You've got that Sherbanger Foundation we talked about mixed with Skittles and Animal Cookies. It's like mixing the best vintage wines to create a whole new blend.
And the buyer was a guy named Be Easy.
A legend in the scene. He runs the cereal box brand. Be Easy knows hype, and he knows quality. He didn't just buy a plant. He made a strategic acquisition. He bought phenotype number 19 for a verified $50,000.
And he named it Gus.
He named it Gus.
Which I just love. It's so unassuming. Here's my $50,000 masterpiece. His name is Gus.
But look at what happened next. The notes say that one transaction set the tone. By 2025, Gus was being called the strain of the year. People were describing it as most disrespectful.
Most disrespectful. I feel like I should be offended, but in this context, that's Like high praise.
Because the highest praise. It means the smell is so loud, so pungent, it violates your personal space.
Wow.
It
Ugh.
doesn't ask for permission, it just smacks you in the face. In the connoisseur market, disrespectful equals dollar signs. It means potency.
And the source makes a really interesting point here. It says genetics began trading like assets.
Yes.
This one transaction changed the perception of what Surefire was even doing.
It validated the entire library. Before that sale, Surefire was a great grower. After that sale, they were a bank. They held the keys to these high-value assets. It signaled to the rest of the industry. We aren't just farming, we are minting gold.
But here's the catch, and this goes right back to the concept of the hunt versus just breeding. Gus was number 19, but he wasn't an only child.
The sibling rivalry. This is my favorite part of the botany because it explains why pheno-hunting is so difficult.
So explain how this works. You cross the parents, you get seeds.
You get hundreds of seeds, you plant them all, they're all brothers and sisters, they have the same parents. But just like in a human family, they're not clones of each other yet.
Right.
One might be tall and lanky like the dad, one might be short and stout like the mom, one might be incredibly potent but yield, terrible amounts of flour.
So you have to grow them all out to see who's who.
That is the hunt. You pop 100 seeds, you grow them for months, you flower them, and then you have to test every single one. Sure, Fire found Gus at number 19, but the notes mention they also found incredible quality in number 23 and number 15.
So number 19 is the superstar, but 23 and 15 are the supporting cast.
Different expressions. Gus's sister, number 23, the notes say, kept pressure on. It had the same family traits, but maybe it leaned a little more into the lemon side or the cookie side.
Okay.
And then you have number 15.
And the notes compare this whole thing to the gelato model. I assume that refers to the famous gelato strain.
Right. The Cookie fam, who created gelato, they famously didn't just release one. They had Gelato 33, also known as Larry Bird. They had Gelato 41, Gelato 25. They realized that different phenotypes appeal to different palates.
So instead of throwing away the sisters because they aren't Gus, you monetize them too.
Exactly. Why limit yourself to one flavor? By keeping multiple keepers, Surefire isn't just betting on one horse, they're betting on the whole stable.
It creates a lineup.
Yeah.
Collect them all.
And it proves the quality of the breeding. If you pop 100 seeds and only one is good, you got lucky. You pop 100 seeds and 20 of them are keepers, you're a master breeder.
That's skill.
The quote in the notes sums it up perfectly. In pheno hunting, dominance is not guaranteed, it is proven run by run.
Proven run by run. That implies you just can't fake it. You can't market your way out of bad genetics.
Not in the craft lane. The plant never lies. You can have the best logo in the world, but if the flower doesn't burn right or taste right, you are finished.
So Surefire has the genetics. They have the Gus hype. They have the library. But they aren't doing this in a vacuum. The deep dive materials mention a collaboration lane.
This is so crucial. In the old days, growers were very, very secretive. You hid your best stuff. You didn't talk to anyone because you were afraid of getting ripped off. But Surefire realized that to scale, they needed an ecosystem.
Who are they working with?
Heavy hitters. The notes list, the Tencos, Doja Pack, Rose Gardens, elusive Los Angeles.
So for the listener who doesn't track this stuff, these are like the Supreme or Gucci of the cannabis world.
Basically, yes. If Doja Pack is running your genetics, it's a stamp of approval. It tells the consumer, this is elite. By collaborating, Surefire gets their genetics into the most famous bags in the world.
It's a branding force multiplier.
Yeah, it's almost like a powered by Surefire label inside a laptop.
That's a great way to put it.
Exactly. They become the Intel inside, they provide the engine, while these other brands provide the chassis and the marketing.
So where does this leave us today? It's Monday, January 19, 2026. The notes say 2026 is loading. What's on the horizon for them?
Well, they're not resting on the 50K cut. That was yesterday's news. In this industry, if you aren't innovating, you're dying.
Right.
So they're looking forward. They have a new cross coming. Skittles times 21, which is ZBX1.
And a project with North Bay Gardens.
Which signals they are doubling down on that Northern California identity. They're proving that the region still holds the crown. They aren't outsourcing to cheaper locations. They are keeping it rooted in the culture that birthed them.
It is such a fascinating trajectory. I mean, they went from being invisible in 2017, just another small batch grower trying not to grow mids, to setting the global standard less than a decade later.
And they did it the hard way. That's the takeaway for me. They didn't take any shortcuts. They took the long, expensive, risky road of hunters before hype.
It really challenges that whole idea of the overnight success we started with, doesn't it? It turns out the overnight success cost 5 years of sweating in a greenhouse and a $50,000 receipt.
And a lot of discarded plants along the way. I mean, thousands of no's to find that one big yes.
So here's the big question I want to leave you with. We've talked about genetics, trading like assets, we've seen crypto, we've seen NFTs, we've seen stocks. But this is biological IP.
It raises some massive implications for the future.
Right. If a specific genetic expression of a plant, just a sequence of DNA, effectively can command the price of a luxury car and trade like a bond, what does that mean for the future of agriculture?
Mm-hmm.
Are we moving toward a world where specific coffee bean genetics or, drought-resistant wheat or a new type of strawberry are traded on a stock exchange?
The NASDAQ for nature.
Exactly. Are we going to see a future where farmers aren't just growing crops, but they're managing portfolios of genetic licenses? If Gus is worth 50K, what's the next breakthrough worth?
Yeah.
It's something to chew on next time you buy.
Well, anything that grows.
It's a brave new world. The farm isn't just a farm anymore, it's a laboratory and a bank.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We'll see you on the next one.
Stay curious.